So, I know what you're expecting, and you're half right and half wrong. Normally at the end of each year, I make a video reflecting on the past 12 months, discussing what I've learned and what I've accomplished. Now, we are going to reflect on 2020, but not in the usual way. This year has been 97% bad, so it would be easy to dwell on that. Instead, I want to take this opportunity to reflect on the lessons 2020 has taught me. In normal circumstances, I'd finish the video off with, what are my New Year's resolutions? What are my plans for the upcoming year? And seeing as how 2020 has been, it would be foolish to go forward with any concrete plans. Because let's be honest, 2020 may have been the epitome of the best laid plans often go awry. With that said, I would love to introduce you to a little reflective special that I've been working on. I hope you love it as much as me. Goodbye, 2020.
This is so cool. I love this.
Comes out in half an hour. My camera got out halfway through, so I just stopped recording again. That was so beautiful. I don't even know what to say.
I've got myself a...
Say hi, everyone. Cake. Woo! Mentally too.
Cambridgeshire, working to prevent suicide.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, over the last few weeks I've been working with Mind on this Stop Suicide campaign.
Is it illegal?
Well, everyone does it.
All for me. They do a burger here called the Beyonce burger.
I see the importance of looking back, comparing where you were to where you are, seeing a growth in mindset. Aging isn't all about getting a year older or having more wrinkles. There's beauty in growth, in outlook. I see myself in the past and I sit with myself now. I feel like two completely different people, friends almost. The emotions are what connect me to that person. I find myself so far beyond that life that it makes me smile. Life is about growth and moving on.
Welcome to part 1. We're gonna be reacting to my 2020 vision, 2020 resolutions video that I did at the end of 2019. I know already I'm gonna be really harsh towards myself. I'm gonna be very critical and make a lot of jokes because I'm internally screaming because I'm so sad, but the whole point of this is to be reflective and be appreciative and look at the positives even if we laugh at ourselves, because naivety, who knew? I honestly wish I was Raven so I could just do this. Oh my god, I just saw into the future. That was such a bad accent, oh my gosh, oh my god. This is gonna be a chunky video because there's a lot to talk about and a lot I wanna express, but I'm gonna chop it up and chop it into chapters. But part 1, I guess, is reacting to that video, so here we go. The video is called Reflecting on 2019 and 2020 Vision.
My reflection over 2019 and looking forward to 2020, if you want to call it. Let's see if I've got 2020 vision.
You didn't. You do not have 2020 vision. If you did, you would have bolted the other direction. Also, these 2020, 2019, 2018 reflection videos really confuse me. They make my sense of time just warp. I don't know why, because it's just a compilation of, it's just a lot.
I've done a whole chunk of solo traveling. I graduated. There's so much to
2019's been up and down for you.
Go through. Did I achieve everything I set out
Nice.
to
Nice to
achieve
know that.
in 2020?
You've got a storm coming.
Let's have a look. So at the
but we're gonna try and be
2018,
positive.
I said that I would.
Right, I'm gonna skip to the section of what is coming up next because I want to know what my 2020 plans were.
But I would probably work at Starbucks again.
I won't
When
work at
get back.
Starbucks again.
Touch wood.
Don't like the company.
Moving on to
Moving on to 2020.
First of all, I need to lose weight.
Lose weight?
That's number one.
I did that.
Because if I don't lose weight, I ain't gonna get better. Priority number one. I'm gonna join Weight Watchers.
Didn't join Weight Watchers, but I did lose weight. In Southeast Asia, I lost quite a bit of weight. Came back, put it back on, but I also exercised a lot more and I've been eating a lot healthier this year. So that's a positive. I haven't lost tons and tons and tons, but I've made a lot more decisions that push my path into a more healthy lifestyle, I guess. We've got a positive there.
Read more, like I said.
Now, the plan to do a book a month, 12 books in 2020. At the time of filming this, today is the 17th of December, and I have so far this year read 10 books. And I'm currently reading Love, Simon, the Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, and I'm also reading White Supremacy in Me. 10 books out of 12, and we're on the road to finish 12 out of 12, so I'm very chuffed with that, and I think I will get those 12 done. I'm nearly finished with the Love, Simon book. I'm really proud, because I used to love reading as a kid. No, I didn't. I used to love reading when I was really stressed and anxious. As a kid, I hated reading. I hated it so much. But then I did English literature A-level. So I did enjoy it at AS because we did such deep analysis of like poems and things like that. And I really enjoy analysis and stuff like that. So I have enjoyed reading and poems and all of that. But then I kind of lost that and then I got it back again. I think it's really calming and I love... Is non-fiction real life? If non-fiction is real life, then I love non-fiction books. However, if it's the other thing, then I basically love real life books, so like things about what's going on in the world. I don't like stories as much. I'm not entirely sure. Basically stuff like autobiographies, like Becoming by Michelle Obama and things like that. So if you're an English person, I don't know, let me know. Actually, I might have to Google it, but let me know down below which fiction or non-fiction I prefer. Wow, that's really confusing. Traveling
to Southeast Asia in February and March.
2020 was meant to be the year I did my Southeast Asia trip and also Australia. So fun story for you, I was actually planning on going to Australia on the 1st of January 2021. However, that cannot happen now. None of it was booked, but it was all in the pipeline to be booked when I got back from Southeast Asia. But that whirlwind happened and I came back early. So I did Southeast Asia, so that's a positive. I did most of my trip. I didn't do all of it. So a positive about that is the fact that I get to go back. But a sad part is that I had to cut it short and miss my other travel. And I didn't get to do my name game challenge that I started, which was going to different countries to spell out my name, R-I-S-H-A-L. My friends have taught me this year, and what I've learned this year is that everything is postponed, not cancelled. So look at it in a good way. Even though it sucks and I didn't get to do very much travelling this year, it's postponed, not cancelled.
I'm thinking of doing Australia next December and then the Philippines straight after that. A little like city breaks through the year.
Australia this December and Philippines straight after.
Myself. I'm dubbing it The Name Game. You might have already
The Name
seen my
Game.
last video where I mentioned it. There'll be an announcement video coming up in the new year.
It hurts.
I'll explain all. So after I come back from Asia, I'm gonna get a job. Hopefully an admin or a receptionist for a call centre.
After I come back from Southeast Asia, I'm gonna get a job. Didn't happen. And I came back in mid-March and it's now December. I'm still looking for a job. So I can't milk that and I can't make that sound nice because it's been depressing as hell and I've really struggled. But if I look at it in a positive light, it shows you how resilient I am and how far I've come amidst the bashes and like the way this year's gone. So props to myself for keeping on.
To go to Australia. And then next year I think I'm gonna go and do my Masters in 2021. So that's, I think, what I'm leaning towards.
That's a big change. In 2021 I plan to do my Masters. However, this year and after travelling I've kind of realised that Masters isn't for me and I don't really want to spend 25k extra to do something that I'm not really going to enjoy. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love forensic psychology, I love criminal psychology. I was going to do a Masters in forensic psychology, but I didn't love it enough to spend that much money on it. Yeah, I'm kind of happy I realised that this year. 1, to save myself money and 2, to save myself my happiness basically. And I've kind of got a new mindset and path, I guess. So that's a big one.
Volunteering is also something I want to do. I'm going to start volunteering at Food Cycle. I might try and find some other places.
And I volunteered for mine this year, which was insane. Like, I was a content creator and like campaign maker for them for their Stop Suicide campaign. I did a video on it and I got to be on the news to share my story about my experience with depression and experience with suicidal thoughts and suicidal intentions, which I was really, really happy to share. So I'm really, really chuffed with myself because it was on BBC News, like insane. Like if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it above. I did do more volunteering than I had planned to, but I'm very chuffed with myself and I'm very happy with myself, and being able to help someone who might see that means the world to me. And yeah, as much as this year's been hell, some good has come out of it.
Basically, this year out was me meant to be focusing on my YouTube and my Instagram. However, because of my back condition, I kind of thwarted it all off, like, roots. That is the plan for the time I've still got, because I've still got basically another year.
That's fun to see Rochelle in the past be like, I've only got a year, I've only got 2 years, taking a gap year, to then go back and do education again. And now I'm sitting in a position where I'm like, I have all the time in the world and a completely different mindset. It's actually really refreshing and really calming. And really exciting actually as well, to be able to fully commit and be like, I'm gonna follow my heart, as cringe as that sounds. Really be in a position where I can sit and be like, okay, it's gonna be tough to save up and things like that, but I'm following my gut and I'm following what my life desires and like ambitions are, and that makes me insanely happy, because you live one life. And I'm kind of glad now, I've now realised that. And Miss Rona did kind of thwart my plans, like old Rochelle likes to use. But again, postponed, not cancelled. And I don't know, just watching that back and just seeing myself, because I know, looking back at that point, I know I was in an iffy place then. I was just really torn whether I wanted to, because I kept telling everyone I was going to go back and do a master's and I didn't want to do one. But I kind of realised this year that I definitely don't want to do it. That mindset then of me toying with that idea is very evident now. I'm just happy to see myself in a position where I'm content.
My main goal in life for next year is to just let go and be happy.
Do you know what?
It's probably easier said than done, but we grow.
Just let go, and oh my god, I'm getting teary-eyed. I've learned so much this year, like so much this year, about people, about family, about friends, about life, about existence, about our place on the planet, about YouTube, about creativity, about video making, about joy, about happiness, about death, about love, anything under the sun. Like the whole world has opened the book and been like, read it. To just let go. There's elements of me that still struggles to do that, but I would say 95% of me has now got to the point of carefree living, and that's ever since my family has experienced virus-related deaths and my Southeast Asia trip, and I've just kind of gone, leave it, just let it go, and just ride the wave that is existence, I guess. And not everyone will share the same mindset as me. I didn't share the same mindset as me a couple of months ago until this world decided to stop and go, time to re-establish yourself. This year has been very philosophically deep for me. I mentioned at the beginning that I was going to talk about making more videos, and I did that. Stuck to a consistent upload schedule, 2 videos a week, and I'm still going strong, and I'm really enjoying it, and that's what we're going to do going forward. End screen is the exact same, so some things don't change. I feel a bit emotional because I can see a change in mindset, and I can see a change in happiness within myself and clarity, and that makes me insanely happy, and I would like to continue this journey. Chapter 1 is a close. Let's move on.
True happiness comes from the simple things. I look back at myself a year ago, the change in reality, viewpoint, balance, they all show true alignment towards a path that was meant for you. That path is your happiness. Once you find that, life then follows suit.
I'm in a church. I'm sitting outside. I wanted to come here because I feel more connected to what I'm about to say. I wanted to touch upon the topic of life and death. And this year, especially, I've kind of learned that life and death is inevitable. It's the circle of life, like the Lion King said. But I've had a lot of family members die, and one of them was my uncle, who was quite young, and it really got to me because it kind of solidified the idea that life is still not a given. You could die tomorrow, you could die in an hour, you could die in 2 hours. And growing up, I did everything to please other people my subjects I did. I fought constantly, I rebelled, and I was the sore thumb in my family. I came out as gay. I was the one who wanted to do psychology, which no one had ever heard of. I've always kind of been the bad child in my family's eyes because I've not done what's the norm for my family, especially in Indian culture. And now, as an adult, I've realised that life is not given. Life can be snatched away from you. We're born, we die. We come out from cells and we end up as ash. It's not worth living your whole entire life for someone else. Life is too short to be continuously pleasing other people, and I've realised that growing up. And I did a degree at uni that I wanted to do, and I make videos even though people don't understand it in my family. I've kind of realised from an early age that hurt me, but as an adult I kind of realise now that it was just an early start to have an attitude towards just being free. I think the whole point of this section of the video was to kind of just discuss that. And in a video I mentioned I don't know what I'm doing with my life at all. I feel like my life is going to be a life where I do something for 2-3 years. You know what I mean? 2-3 years change, 2-3 years break, volunteering, go abroad, 2-3 years work somewhere abroad, live somewhere abroad, come back, work for 5-6 years, go off somewhere else. And I don't think I'm going to be in a job long term at all for the rest of my life. I don't want the linear path that everyone else has. I don't want to follow the crowd, like what society says. I want to do all those things. Growing up I felt like there was a finite time, and to an extent there is, but there can be a finite time and you still enjoy your life. And I think what I've realised now is I could go tomorrow and I would be happy because I'm doing things I'm happy with and I'm content. I want to do a million things, and I couldn't do a million things if I followed the conventional path forever. And I'm not saying the conventional paths are bad, that's just not for me, and I don't want to do that. That doesn't make me happy, and it might make someone else happy, and that's perfectly fine. If that makes you happy, that makes you happy. But for me, I want to fill my life and let the cup flow over insane amounts, because the cup's going to be full either way. You're still going to have a cup full of activities even though you've got an overflow. Embrace life and do whatever the hell you want. And that's not me saying you have to constantly be doing bucket list activities, constantly be doing holidays. Nah, it's more that you follow your heart. And as cringe as that sounds, my thinking is, and I've mentioned it before, what is the point in going through life adding and adding and adding to your CV if at the end of the day the CV doesn't come with you? You don't take any of your material possessions or anything with you. So why not just fill your head with activities, fill your head with experiences, fill your brain, fill your life, fill your heart? I've noticed this more because I've been applying to loads of jobs, and they're like, what's your long-term career goals? What do you want to do with the company? Do you want to grow with the company? And I'm like, to an extent that's a trap, because honey, I don't want to work in a certain job for the rest of my life. Like, there is no progression there in the job. I know there isn't, and I just don't want to be stuck, and I don't want to live a life that's set out for me and for the corporations. I don't want to live for the corporations. I want to live for me, and I don't want to live for the happiness of other people. I want to live for the happiness of me. And the death part, kind of, it's more the, I know that death is coming, and if I were to die tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, I'd be happy, I'd be at peace, because I'm doing what I enjoy right now. Like, I'm making videos and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm just having fun. This year especially, I've let go of the fear of death. I used to be terrified of death, and I used to be terrified of dying, and that comes part and parcel with the whole enjoying your life, doing everything in your life. Because I think if I was doing something that I didn't enjoy in my life, I'd be scared of death, because I'd be like, my time is running out, I don't have enough time to do this, this and this. Whereas me doing this, this and this now, it's kind of like, if I were to go tomorrow, I would be at peace. Death is scary, don't get me wrong, it's terrifying. It scares me endlessly to think about my mum dying, my sister dying, my brother dying, the way the world is right now, and the thing that's going on. It really, really scares me. And my mum, out of all the people, scares me the most, because my mum is like my best friend. But for myself, nah, I'm okay. And I think that's a really good outlook to have, because fear is not driving your life then. And I think a lot of my no death fear comes from the fact that I was so close to dying in first year when I tried to do an overdose. I look back and I'm like, Rochelle, like, it makes me upset. It makes me really upset. And I think being so close to death and being around death with my granddad, and a lot of my family dying this year, I think I've kind of just become immune to it, and I'm kind of like, there is no point in being scared. You've got to just live the life you've been given, enjoy the heck out of it, and then when it's time to go, it's time to go, and the world just decides that for you. Do you know what? I feel really at peace just talking about that. And as scary as it is that I'm sitting in a graveyard, I'm kind of just really reflecting on everything, to be honest. I think the whole point of this is that we come out of the womb and we end up back in Mother Nature. We come from a mother, we end up in nature. Just to think we're a pile of ashes really just makes everything so futile. And I'm just like, there is no point getting stressed over what someone said to you 2 years ago. And I know my anxiety kicks me, and I'm like, oh my god, what have you done? They hate you because you said that thing, that phrase to them like 6 years ago. Oh my gosh. But I've kind of slowly started to realise that it doesn't matter, because these people aren't going to remember when they're Ash. I'm not going to remember when I'm Ash. Looking at things like that just makes life a little bit easier. It doesn't make it perfect, and I'm not perfect, but it just changes your outlook a bit. We're all heading towards death. We are all getting older. We are all going to die. You have just got to do what you enjoy, because at the end of the day, if you do something that's for the benefit of someone else, if there is a heaven, if there is a hell, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, what did I do for the whole of my life? Like, my one shot. It's mad. I just think of it. I think of it in existential terms, and I'm just like, we're just cells. And this really got to me when my granddad died. I was like, how can someone just die and their personality, their aura, their character, their mannerisms, their personality, their voice, their movements, their being, all just disappear like that? We are all just carriages, and our soul leaves, and it's just so weird. I'm just like, how can we be living, breathing, moving human beings with thought, personality, cognition, emotions, all of that stuff, and then the switch turns off and everything stops? Everything. What I'm trying to say is that you've got to follow your heart. If you do something you enjoy, if you work 9 to 5 and that's your jam, bread and butter, you do that, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you happy. You enjoy that, you enjoy structure. But 9 to 5, I don't want to do 9 to 5 because I want to work for myself, and I want to travel, and no job's going to let me work 9 to 5 and travel. I'm a free spirit. I just want to go and explore the world, and I can't do that because 9 to 5 wouldn't let me. I think it's given me an outlook on life. I think it's toned down my anxieties. It's not, my depression hasn't got any better. My anxieties have come down a bit because I've kind of let go of a lot of things. I think thinking about death and thinking about life, I've kind of stopped worrying about what I said a couple of years ago, what I did a couple of years ago. Not fully. I don't now fully go, oh, forget that. I do have days where I'm like, oh, I wish I was still friends with so and so. I could have said this, but I could have said that, but, and that's part of human nature, I guess, and that's fine. But I'm working towards accepting it and living and letting go, and I think that just makes you calmer. And it makes you go with life a bit more and happier.
My path has opened up. Before, I saw a million paths that all these other people were taking, and I was like, maybe I should follow the sheep, maybe I should follow the herd, and follow in their footsteps. Because my path wasn't open. For me, this last year has been the opening of a door. What you see in the distance, what you see beyond that, is goddamn exciting.
But it's important to remember that our minds are often most resistant to what would help us most. Andy said it himself. The mind will eventually seek comfort, predictability, reliability, and refuge. These tools and habits aren't meant to make your life more difficult. They're meant to help scrape out all the meaninglessness, the darkness too. They're meant to help us actually stop and look around, to actually live your life instead of watching it play out for someone else on a screen. Don't wait for the moment of reckoning or the card to flip to remember, this is the only life you have to live. At the end of every single day, it's just you looking you in the mirror.
This year, I've really honed in on thinking about purpose and paths and higher power and simulation, God, existence, being, universe, aliens, ghosts, the whole shebang. Basically, this year has made me realise that nothing is in our control because we can't do anything about the you know what. It makes me think, what is our purpose in life? I know we all have individual purposes in terms of what we want to fulfill in our lives. More and more, I've started to realise or look into simulation theory basically and seeing if there's a higher power. Now, my family's religious, family follows Hinduism, and I stopped kind of following it when my granddad passed away. And I've kind of become more spiritual and like interested in it now, especially after travelling and seeing how other people live, especially in Southeast Asia. I want to think that there is something more than us. I just think, especially in terms of existence, I think it's so weird, like I said, how we are born and then we die and we're ash and we're part of the world again. And it's just atoms, molecules and all of that, and we're just flesh. We're just moving bags of flesh with some bones in. And I know to someone else this might sound like, what the hell is this boy going on about? But this year I've kind of just realised we have no control over what happens. We can have some degree of control of what we do, but in the end, do you think that there's a path laid out for you and certain doors open at certain times? You know, everyone always says one door closes, another one opens. Do you think that's an automatic effect? One door closes, another one automatically opens, and someone's already decided to do that? I just feel so insignificant and tiny and strange, and it makes me feel really odd. But in a lovely song by Beyonce Giselle Knowles-Carter, she sings, "If you feel insignificant, you better think again. You better wake up because you're part of something way bigger. Not just a speck in the universe, not just some words in a Bible verse. You are the living word. Bigger than the picture they framed us to see, but now we see it, it ain't no secret. Understand the truth about that question in your soul. Look up, look down, down, watch your answers unfold. Life is your birthright, they hid that in fine print. Take the pen and rewrite it. Step out your estimate, step in your essence and know that you're excellent, rise. The spirit is teaching, no I'm not just preaching, I'm taking my own advice." I know, extrapolated and realised that life has been given, and although you may kind of feel down sometimes, you've got to remember that there's a bigger play going on, and without you, the world doesn't work. And it's kind of realising your own power. And that's what I take away from it. And there's a lot going on, which makes me think that life has been given to you by who? You know, like, who created life in the first place? I know mums do and all of that stuff, but who created life in the first place? Bigger than the picture they framed us to see, but now we see it. We are not meant to be fit in a square. We're meant to expand, we're meant to be creative, we're meant to excel, we're meant to be beautiful. And what you do with your life is yours, but at the end of the day, we are all one human race, and that's what the song is trying to tell you. And divisions and racism and all of that isn't gonna put us together, because we are the human race, and there's a bigger issue going on, and we're all driving towards a certain thing. And that's social justice, that's equal rights, that's political fairness, I don't know, everything that exists in society. And that's really interesting to me. And that song really gets to me. It personally hits me, because it just gives me that boost every single day that I need. Do you think that our life is predetermined? To some extent, yes. Circumstances we've been given, the way we grew up, who we grew up with, what our families like, our social status, all of that. But also, do we think that there's loads of different paths for us, and we kind of, it's like swings and roundabouts, one thing happens so another thing happens and all of that stuff, and it's kind of like one path door opens. There are paths laid out for us, and it's just up to us which one we end up going down. And that's really weird, because then there's that whole free will versus determinism debate. Free will is kind of like you do things of your own accord, where determination is basically things are predetermined for you and you follow the path of predetermined rules and a rule set and all of that. And there's also something else in psychology called locus of control. External locus of control, you kind of attribute everything else to something that's not related to you, to something else like fate and luck and all that. And then there's internal locus of control. And internal is like you're very much in control of your own path and all of that. And it's really interesting to me. I find it so fascinating. There is much more than just us, and I think it's selfish and I think it's naive to just think it's us. And that brings me on to aliens as well. Aliens could be the higher power. God could be the higher power. It could just be a floating soul. I don't 100% believe that there's something there, but I'm open to it, and I think there might be, because the universe can't exist with all of these planets and all of that and just us be here. And how did this all happen? And it makes me so confused. I'm like, how on earth did we get here? Who put us here to start, and why, and for what? And this makes me so interested. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? I believe that ghosts exist, but I feel inclined towards the soul. I think the soul is the ghost. And I think that's purely because I want to believe that there's a life after. I'm getting upset. A lot of my attitudes and everything in life come from my granddad. And I want to believe that... I said to him, right? I don't think I've mentioned it before. I said to him that when I get married, I never want to get married now. I said to him, I'll keep a seat free for you at the front, as I know you'll want to be there. And my grandma was joking about it. She was like, you better leave me a seat too. And I was like, yeah, sure. I never really thought about it until I lost my granddad. I was kind of like hoping that... Because he shaped me growing up. He really shaped me, and he really made me the person I am in terms of attitudes, in terms of personality, in terms of outlook on life, in terms of love of travel. And since he's died, everything I've done was for him, because he's always told me to just do what I want without telling me to do what I want. Maybe there isn't a life after this, and maybe he has just gone, and all the people we lose, we lose. But it makes me happy to think... I know it's not a good thing to think about ghosts and all that, but it kind of gives me hope that I'll see him again, and he'll be at my wedding, if I ever have one. I don't know. Maybe there isn't, and maybe he has gone. And as hard as this is for me to say, I'd be content with that, because I got to spend the most time out of all the siblings with my granddad. I'm content because he's at peace wherever he is. I just think this is a plane, right? We're just here to either go upstairs or downstairs, and I just think it's a massive social experiment. Because you know how we play around with rats and scientists do all that, we do animal testing and all that. Animal testing is bad, by the way. Maybe this is our animal testing. Maybe we are the animals. We are the guinea pigs. And then someone at the top pulling the strings. I think the whole point of this is to kind of realise that we're here to do good, and we're here for a reason. And I believe that reason right now is to treat each other fairly, to treat each other on an equal basis, to not discriminate, to not hate, because there is so much hate and division here. It's horrible. It is horrid. I hate it. I genuinely think to a certain extent this is a social experiment to see how we can destroy ourselves. And I don't want that. See, I told you this is going to be a mind fart. It's just going to be me just rambling and being scared about aliens. I genuinely think aliens have probably come here and been like, what is this shithole? And then popped off again. Because sometimes I wonder that too. I'm like, why on earth would you want to come here anyway? I'm having an existential crisis now, and I don't know what to do. I'm going to go work out. Me realising the futility of it all. Anyway.
What are we here for? Why are we here?
What are we doing? Who are we doing this for?
2020 has taught me
That you do it for yourself. You do it for the people you love. To some extent. In the wise words of Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter, I got me, myself, and I is all I got in the end. So when I found out that there ain't no need to cry, I took a vow that from now on I'm gonna be my own best friend.
what sparks joy? What brings you joy? What makes you smile? What makes you want to get up in the morning? What makes you want to live? I've never let myself look back or look at anything in a way that I'm allowed to be happy, and I'm allowed to be happy because of it. I can do something because I want to, and I'm going to enjoy it. Not because it provides money, not because it pays the bills. I can just do it for fun. So, growing up, creativity was kind of frowned upon in my family. When I was younger, I used to bring home art and like crafts and all that kind of stuff, and my mum never hung any of it on the fridge. I didn't really pay much attention to it when I was little, but when I was growing up, I kind of started to notice it, and I kind of started to pay more attention to it. Creativity in our society is kind of looked down upon. It's not seen as the moneymaker, it's not a real job, all of the things you hear the older generation tell us. You can see with the way the pandemic has been going on and how the arts have been dealt. For example, Hollywood, you've got Netflix, you've got Broadway, you've got West End, and all of that stuff. Creativity has got us through this year, and it always has. Media and art and music and all of that kind of stuff has always been the source of joy for a lot of people, myself included. And
I don't really understand why there's so much negativity towards creativity, because creativity is in everything: marketing, adverts, artwork, the music you listen to, radio, films you watch, plays you see. If you are looking at a new brand, you've got the social media involved, you've got photography, you've got videography. All these things are really, like, important. Growing up, creativity for me was a really important outlet, especially in fashion, in the clothes I wore. Granted, that went hand in hand with my sexuality. I kind of was trying to express my sexuality and trying to find clothes that were different to express myself. And I found clothing really helpful. At the age of 17, 18, I started to make videos. I made videos when I was younger, when I was about 13 as well. And I love making videos so much. I find that they let me escape. And this year, it has been so important for me to use video and YouTube as my joy, because this year I've been so insanely creative on YouTube and made videos, and I've been looking for jobs as well. But if I hadn't been doing these videos and things like that, I think I would have had many more breakdowns than I did, basically. And growing up, creativity could be a potential avenue, especially coming from an Indian ethnic background. You know how the families are, medical, you want to be a dentist, you want to be a doctor, all of that, and I think creative art, anything related like that, was really hard. And the notable factor for that was when I wanted to do drama at GCSE and my dad wouldn't let me. He was like, "Why do you want to do that? It's a bit girly." And there's a lot of stereotypes surrounding that, but I still did it because it made me happy. And this year, I spent so much time editing and creating videos. Since March, I've been really, really productive and really consistent. Looking for jobs has been really intense on my mental health, but making videos and being creative has helped calm my anxiety and my depression. I guess it kind of functions as a job for me. Kind of, I wake up and I'm like 9 to 5, okay, I'll edit, I'll plan, I'll make thumbnails, I'll plan the next video, I'll write a script, I'll write down some notes, I'll research a video, I'll plan it out, I'll plan out my content schedule, I'll plan out some Instagram posts, I'll edit some pictures, and that works as a 9 to 5 job for me, and that's what I want to do as a job. Like, I want to do something creative related. Making videos and all of that kind of just gives me a bit of routine, gives me a bit of structure, allows me to express myself, allows me to get away and just laugh and have a bit of fun and express myself, and just I found that this year especially, my Southeast Asia vlogs, that's when I got creatively diverse, I got creatively insightful, and I got creatively excited. I was so excited to make those, and I made those and I'm buzzing with them. I love them. I watch them back and I'm like, it makes me so happy. They function as journals and diary entries and things like that for me to look back on in a few years. But doing them, being creative, adding filters, adding effects, adding voices, adding fun elements to it, just makes me so insanely happy. And I think we beat creativity out of kids so much from a young age. And I think the world would be so much more fun if we let people just do what they want to do. And I think this year, creativity has really helped me through and given me a purpose, I guess. I'm just so glad that I've got a hobby that I really, really enjoy doing, as much as a 9 to 5, because I could do video editing for the rest of my life and I'd not get bored of it. It just feels like you're not dealing with the world in the way it is. And I think for my anxiety, it's allowed me to express myself in a variety of different ways. Creatively, I've been able to try new editing styles, try new looks, try new outfits, try new angles, try new storytelling habits, and all of that stuff. And I've grown in my editing capacity, I've grown in my video making capacity, I've learned how to use a camera a bit better, how to edit photos and all of that stuff, and it's just given me something to keep me grounded and keep me pushing on. If you enjoy something, do it, and don't let someone else tell you that it's non-profitable, so it's stupid, because if it makes you happy, that's profitable enough.
Happiness. I think happiness is the key. It's the key to everything. Love will always win, and fear will always lose when there is love around. And I don't know where this voice note is going. I don't know where it's ending up, but it's just, a lot of these are just streams of consciousness. I'm just talking, I'm just going through what is going on in my little old brain.